Have you ever gotten a past hurt that just stuck with you for a little too long? I remember the first time I went skiing, we got onto the mountain and I actually started picking it up really quickly. I was actually shocked with myself. I started feeling very overly confident in myself. Part of that is because I had a great teacher, my brother-in-law Joey, shout out. And as I was going down the mountain and we were doing all this stuff, I realized that I wanted to try something new. And I saw this box that you can actually grind the skis on. And so feeling very confident, I did that. I jumped onto the box. Everything was going amazingly until I crashed on my right shoulder. Well, and it hurt my shoulder and I thought, this will go away in about a couple days. I thought it was just bruised. Well, a couple days turns into a couple weeks, and a couple weeks turned into a couple months. And sure enough, it turned into a year later and my shoulder was still hurting. And I had friends who would come up to me and say, "Hey, you should get it checked out. Go see a doctor, go see a physical therapist, do something." And I kind of just brushed them off going, "Yeah, it doesn't hurt that bad. I'm fine. Until one day I went onto the gym floor, getting back into working out, and I started to do these overhead presses, and I felt my shoulder give out. And I realized that not only was my shoulder really hurting, but my neck was hurting as well. And so I had to end the workout early, rushed home, saw a physical therapist immediately. Do you still have a past hurt that's still hurting? Some of the biggest past hurts in our life come from our relationships. And you might be sitting here saying, well, I'm a Christian. None of my past is supposed to hurt anymore, right? I love what the psalmist writes in Psalm 6, verses 6-7. They write, "I am worn out from my groaning. All night long I flood my bed with weeping and drench my couch with tears. My eyes grow weak with sorrow. They fail because of all my foes." The truth is, we all have hurts. Regardless of where we are at in our spiritual journey, we all still have past hurts. We have past relational wounds. What is a relational wound? A relational wound is simply a behavior that helped you survive a relationship in the past. Maybe it came from a loved one. Maybe it came from a family of origin that instead of them building you up, they actually tore you down instead. Or maybe it came from loneliness at school. I'll never forget, a while back, I had to cancel some plans because I had gotten sick. And so my friends who had invited me out to this activity, they ended up going off without me, and I felt, well, honestly, really depressed. I got really bitter and anxious. I was angry all morning. I remember my kids, they were getting really rowdy while I was trying to clean up this painting craft that they were doing. And it's embarrassing to admit, but I lost my temper with them until my wife had to step in and say, "Hey, you need to just remove yourself for a little bit." Why did I respond that way? There's no excuse for me responding that way, but why did I respond that way? Because growing up, my family moved a couple of different times, and I had to move schools a couple different times. And in that time period, I lost the group of friends that I had been forming, and I never really found another really tight-knit group where I was part of the core group. And so every time my friends would go out and they would kind of hang out without me, and every time I just felt, well, lonely and anxious, and that anger started to show up again, and so when my friends canceled, when I had to cancel the plans with my friends, well, it wasn't just canceling plans. It was me, the 12-year-old me, watching my friends go hang out without me. And then that produced anger in me, and I got angry in that situation. Do you still have some past hurts that are still hurting? I love what the author of Hebrews writes in Hebrews 4:15. "For we do not have a high priest who is unable to empathize with our weaknesses, but we have one who has been tempted in every way just as we are." I'm not going to claim to know your past hurts, but I can tell you this: I do know hurt. And more importantly, much more importantly, God knows your hurts. And he is there with you in the hurts. We call him Emmanuel, God with us, meaning he doesn't forsake you in the midst of the hurt, but that he walks with you in that hurt. And so my encouragement to you is this: In your time of prayer, in the honest place with God, be fully vulnerable and honest with him about those past hurts, because he wants to bring healing into your life and he wants to bring freedom as you walk with him. Be blessed today.